Okay, I'll restart this. Okay. So welcome everyone. I'm glad to have everyone here today on this beautiful Tuesday. Today we won't need any props, but if you do have any blocks or straps that you would like to use, even pillows or bolsters, even a chair, you are totally more than welcome to use it. So today we're going to start on our backs actually. We are going to come all the way down. So you can have your legs out straight, kind of like Shavasana if you want. But if it feels better on the back, and I'm actually going to do this one, just walk the feet out a little wider than hip width, and then let the knees drop towards midline. This is just a nice reset for the low back, adjusting anything needed in the hips, in the back. It's not so strenuous. And then letting the hands just come down by your side. You can even place them on the belly or the chest if you want to. And then once you finally settle in, taking a big breath in through the nose. Nice, slow exhale. And bring awareness to the body and the breath at the same time. See if you have any tension lingering in the body. Maybe you're gripping your hands and fingers or even your toes. Maybe you're even squinting your eyes and eyebrows, but see if you can just take a big breath. Relax and soften the body just a bit more. Letting the floor, letting the earth just support you. And then if it resonates with you, you can set an intention for your practice today. Maybe it's a positive affirmation, or maybe it's releasing something that no longer serves or benefits you. Maybe it's just as simple as being here, being in the present. Letting your mind focus on the breath and on the body, not focusing on anything else. Deadlines, obligations, all of that can wait. So just being here, now in the present. And then we'll just take one big breath in through the nose. Nice sigh out the mouth. And begin to gently flutter the eyes open, nice and easy. We'll take a big inhale with the arms and just reach above the head, nice and long. And then exhale and just let them float above you, and then let the hands float next to your side. So we're going to take the knees and begin to take hip width apart. So you might have to walk your feet in just a couple of inches. And then we're going to take that right leg and begin to hug in that right shin. If you want to point and flex the foot or roll it around, finding some mobility in the ankle. So from here, begin to grab behind the leg, so onto the thigh, hugging it in just a bit more. So stay here if this is enough. Maybe begin to slowly begin to straighten out that right leg. You can always have a nice bend in the knee, getting that top of the thigh closer to the belly if that feels good. But see if you can just find just a little stretch in the back of the leg, nothing too intense. And again, maybe see if you want to point and flex the foot. Once you're flexing the foot, you should feel a nice, even deeper stretch in the calf area, but again, backing off if needed. So we can stay in this passive stretch, or if you want to create a little movement, begin to bend the knee, and then maybe straightening it out again. And just doing that a few times, feeling that nice lengthening in the back of the leg. And still having that nice, calm breath. And then when you're ready, we'll bend the knee and give it one last good squeeze into the chest. And then we'll gently drop that foot back down to the ground, foot in line with the hip. And then we'll bring in that left shin into the chest. Give it a good squeeze, point and flex the foot, circle around the ankle. And then when you're ready, grabbing behind the leg, again, pulling it in, maybe just an inch more. Then when you're ready, begin to slowly straighten out that left leg, pointing that foot, that heel towards the ceiling. And again, pointing and flexing the foot a bit. Feeling that gentle stretch back and forth. And if you find a little more space within the back of the leg, maybe gently pull that leg towards the chest, towards the nose, just a bit more. And again, if you feel any sharp pains or just weird things in the body going on, just backing off. And if you want to add a little more movement, again, just bending the knee and straightening it nice and slow. See if you can follow the breath as you bend and straighten. It's really nice and easy, finding harmony in the body. No need to push or force anything. And then when you're ready, we'll gently hug that shin, that leg back into the body. And then bringing in that right shin as well. Maybe taking a little rock side to side. Maybe grabbing onto both knees and circling in one direction and reversing. Just a nice, gentle low back massage. So then we're going to grab onto the backs of both thighs this time and just rub them up and down. We're going to create some nice warmth in the back of the legs. We're going to really get into the quads and the hamstrings today. So we want to make sure our body is nice and warm. And then when you're ready, we're going to slowly, with control, rock up and down just a few times, warming up the core. Hopefully you're on a nice cushy mat, maybe even carpet, and it should be a nice little massage on the spine. And then we'll make our way all the way up to a comfortable seat. And I'll face you for this. So if this doesn't feel good on the knees, you can always have your legs out straight, sit on a pillow, whatever feels good. So on your next breath in, we're going to inhale the arms all the way up. Gaze is looking in between the thumbs. And then exhale, nice and slow. Bring the fingertips all the way back down to the ground. Twice more. Inhale the arms up. And then exhale, gently release. Last time, inhale up. And then exhale, nice sigh out the mouth. So we're going to take that right elbow and just bend it behind the head. And then gently press the elbow down the back. So your fingertips should feel the back of your neck, or maybe it's even the spine. So stay here if this is enough. If you have the space, you can see if you can take that left hand behind you. Maybe the fingertips touch. Maybe they clasp, and if they don't, no worries. as long as the fingertips are trying to reach for each other. And then taking a big breath in. Nice exhale out. Begin to release whatever you got going on there, and then take that right arm underneath the left. Eagle arm, and then taking the fingertips towards the ceiling, small rounding up the upper shoulders, chin towards the chest. And we'll take a full breath in, full breath out. And then gently take that left arm and just cross it over the chest. And then taking the gaze over the left shoulder. One breath in, and one breath out. We'll take the left elbow, begin to slowly bend it behind the head, gently pressing down. And you'll get a bigger stretch if you take the chin from the chest and start taking the gaze towards the middle or even looking up. And if that's too much, again, just adjusting to where it feels comfortable. And then taking the right, if it feels okay. And then we'll wrap around, taking a big breath in. Nice exhale out. And then we'll unravel out of that, taking the left arm underneath the right. Eagle arms. So fingertips trying to reach towards the ceiling, rounding the upper back, chin to chest. Calm breath in. Calm breath out. And then begin to gently release, taking the right arm over the chest, gaze looks over that right shoulder. Inhale, lengthen up the spine all the way to the crown of the head, nice and tall. And then exhale, release. Inhale, we're gonna goal pose or cactus the arms all the way up, opening up the chest. Exhale, take the hands down behind your back, clasp them together. Inhale, pull the chest up towards the ceiling, knuckles pointing down towards the floor. And then exhale, release, taking the fingertips out in front of you. Maybe slowly walking the hands out a little further. Maybe the forearms come down onto a block, a pillow, or the floor. Maybe they don't. Finding just a little movement, and then maybe finding some stillness. And just close the eyes just for a moment, checking in with the body again, releasing the low back, releasing any tension in the neck. Full breath in. Full breath out. And then we'll walk the hands all the way back towards the legs. So you can roll over your knees gently or come to a side seat. And we'll all meet up into a nice tabletop. Shoulders over the wrist, hips over the knees, fingertips spread nice and wide. And then if it feels good, maybe rock a little forward and back, side to side, warming up the wrist just a bit. And then we'll find some stillness. On the next breath in, lower the belly, open up the chest, gaze looks up. And then exhale around the upper back, belly to spine, chin to chest. A few more times. Inhale, pull the chest forward. And then exhale, reverse, doming the upper back. And just a couple more times with your own breath. If you find any sticky spots while you're doing cat-cow, maybe even staying there for a breath or two, breathing out any tension that might have built up. And then we'll find a nice neutral spine. We're going to take the big toes together, take the knees out as wide as comfortable, and then sitting the heels, or sitting your sit bones towards your heels. Take the forehead, the third eye towards the mat. Coming into child's pose. So from here, taking 3 nice long breaths. Try even inflating the belly, between the legs, making it nice and big, gathering up all the air. And then releasing, emptying out the belly. When you're ready, we're going to come back up to that nice tabletop. Again, checking in with the shoulders over the wrists and hips over the knees. And we'll tuck the toes under. And begin to slowly lift the hips all the way up and back, keeping the knees bent. Seeing if you can take the belly and match it right on top of the legs, or as close as possible. Gaze is looking in between the feet or the calves. And then pressing down through all 10 knuckles. And then when you're ready, pedaling out the feet, nice and slow, really getting into the backs of the legs, warming up the hamstrings and calves again. So you can keep pedaling out your feet or even find some slowness if that feels better. If you want to have a little more movement, begin to bend both knees again. And then exhale, begin to straighten out the legs. 2 more times. Inhale, bend. Exhale, straighten. Last time. Inhale, bend. Exhale, straighten. This time on your next breath in, we'll lift up onto the toes. And then exhale the heels down towards the mat. No worries if the heels don't touch. And twice more. Inhale up onto the tippy toes. And then exhale the heels down, still pointing that tailbone up and back. Last time, inhale up onto the toes. And then exhale the heels down. On your next breath in, we'll gaze towards the mat, nice soft bend in the knees, and we'll slowly walk and crawl ourselves all the way up to the front. Once you make your way up there, begin to forward fold over the legs. And then it feels good grabbing onto opposite elbows, swaying a little side to side into ragdoll. And see if you can intentionally just let the weight of the shoulders and the head become nice and heavy. Dropping any tension you may be holding on in the upper back. And then we'll gently release out of that. This time, I want you to see if you can make a fist with both hands. And then we're going to just gently pound the backs of our legs. So starting from the hamstrings and then making our way down to the calves and then just going back up, but just avoiding the backs of the knees. We only want to get into the calf areas and the hamstrings, and then even seeing if you want to go onto the sides of the legs. This is a nice warming up of the muscles without having to actually do anything, just waking them up. And then when you've had enough of that, we'll gently drop the fingertips down towards the ground, keeping the head nice and heavy. We'll slowly roll up 1 vertebrae at a time. Once you make your way all the way up, rolling the shoulders down the spine, inhale the arms all the way up. Gaze looks in between the thumbs. And then exhale, hinge at the hips, swan dive down, nice and controlled. Inhale, halfway lift. Hands can be on top of the thighs or the shins. And then exhale, forward fold. 2 more times. Inhale, halfway lift, nice flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Last time, inhale, halfway lift, crown head pointing towards the front of the room. And then exhale, take the hands down to the ground. We'll step back to plank pose. I'll just stay here for the breath in. And then on the breath out, lower the knees down and begin to bend the elbows, grazing the rib cage all the way down to the belly, and then flatten the feet onto the mat. Inhale, take the chest up just an inch for baby cobra. And then exhale the chest down. Inhale, maybe a little higher this time. And then exhale down. This time, inhale maybe to a full cobra. Hold for 1 breath in. And then on the breath out, begin to slowly and controlled all the way down to the belly. We'll tuck the toes under, and knees can stay down, or you can pop them up from the mat. And we'll press down firmly through the hands, coming into a plank pose. And then taking the hips all the way up and back on your exhale. And then pedaling out the feet just for a breath. Inhale, gaze towards the top of the mat. And slight bend in the knees, and we'll slowly walk up once more. Once you make your way up there, inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. So this time, you're going to bend at your right knee and keep that left leg nice and straight. And we're going to take the right fingertips right in front of us. You can always use a block, a pillow, or even a book right in front of you, bringing the floor to you if you need to. So we'll bend that right knee, and we'll inhale that left arm all the way up. So staying here for a breath. If it feels good, you can always take that left hand to the low back, or even find that right hip crease. You should feel a nice stretch in the back of that left leg. And we'll inhale the left arm all the way up, and then exhale, coming back to a forward fold. And then switching to the other side, left hand goes right into the center, bending the left leg, and we'll inhale the right arm all the way up. And again, if it feels good, taking that right hand to the low back, or finding that left hip crease. And sending the breath into the back of the right leg, opening up. Inhale the right arm all the way up again. And then exhale, closing off, coming into a forward fold. Slight bend in the knees. We'll slowly begin to make our ascent up all the way to standing. Inhale the arms all the way up. Exhale, swan dive down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, take the hands down, stepping back to plank pose. Staying for the breath in. On the breath out, lower the knees, bend the elbows, graze the ribcage all the way down to the belly. On your next breath in, we're going to come all the way up to our cobra pose. And just staying here, nice engagement in the glutes, pressing and pulling the chest forward. We're going to activate our right quad. So begin to bend that right knee and then gaze over to that right foot. Exhale, set everything down. Inhale, begin to bend that left knee. Gaze looks over the left shoulder, maybe looking at the left toes. And then exhale, placing the foot back down, gaze comes back towards center, and taking the chest all the way down. Tuck the toes under, knees up or down. We'll press ourselves up to a plank pose, and then all the way back, downward facing dog. Taking a full breath in. Full breath out. Inhale, gaze towards the top of the mat. This time, maybe taking a nice big step all the way up. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. This time, inhale, root to rise all the way to standing, lifting the arms, lifting the gaze. And then exhale, hinge at the hips, swan dive down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, take the hands down, step back to plank pose. Stay for the breath in. On the breath out, lower the knees down again, and then bend the elbows all the way down to the belly. Inhale, up to cobra pose. So you can stay here in cobra, or even come down onto the forearms, coming into sphinx pose. We're going to do a passive quad stretch this time. So begin to bend that right knee and see if you can take that right hand and hook onto that foot. If you have a strap, you can always use that to help you as well. So this might be enough. Maybe you start to gently and slowly press that foot, that heel, towards the glute. You should feel a nice stretch in the quad. And again, if you feel any pinching, sharp pains, just backing off. And we'll just stay here for one more breath. And then gently release all of it back to your cobra or to your sphinx pose. We'll take a cleansing breath in. And a nice cleansing breath out. And then moving on to the other side, we'll bend that left knee. See if you can take that left hand, meet that foot, or even using a strap. And then we'll slowly guide that foot down towards the mat or down towards the glute. And each side might feel a little different, and that's okay. One side is usually tighter than the other. Calm breath in. Calm breath out. And then releasing out of that. So take the hands, stack them right on top of each other, right in front of you on the floor, and place the forehead right onto the hands. Bending both knees and just windshield wiper the legs back and forth, nice and easy. When you're ready, we'll place the feet back down on the ground, tucking the toes under. Take the hands right underneath the shoulders, and we'll place ourselves all the way up to a plank pose, and then all the way up and back, downward facing dog. On your next breath in, gaze towards the top of the mat, taking a nice big step all the way to the top. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, root to rise all the way to standing, taking the hands all the way to the top, taking them together in prayer. Thumbs come to the third eye, and then hands come to heart center. So from here in mountain pose, maybe close your eyes, playing with your balance just a bit. Spreading the toes a little wider, finding that connection between the earth and the body. And taking a big breath in, lengthening up all the way to the crown of the head, and then exhale out. Twice more, inhale, and then exhale out. Last time, big inhale in. Nice release out the mouth. On your next breath in, we'll inhale the arms all the way up. Exhale, hands come to heart center once more. So we're going to take our right hand and we're going to come into a standing quad stretch. Actually, I'll face you this way. If you want to take your hand at half prayer, you can leave it there or take it onto your hip if that's better for balance. We're just going to bend that right knee and see if you can grab onto that right foot. So we're going to play with balance a bit while getting that nice quad stretch. So with the quad stretch, we want to be very aware of our hips. So see if you can press your hips actually forward, so pointing the tailbone down towards the ground, and then pointing that right knee down towards the earth as well. Trying to get that right knee as close to the left as well. And then we'll gently release out of that. Inhale the arms all the way up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, take the hands down to the ground. This time we're just going to take a nice big step back with our right leg, coming into a low lunge. If you have blocks or props, you can always place them under your hands, letting the hips settle just for a breath. And then we'll gently take that right knee down to the ground, flatten that back foot. So staying here, if this is enough. Maybe walking the hands up to the knee. So instead of coming into this crescent pose, we're going to actually back our hips up. Again, pointing that tailbone down towards the ground, squaring off the hips. You should feel a nice lengthening in that front leg, feeling that quad again. And then we'll slowly begin to press the hips towards the front. Just be really calm and slow about this. Once you feel enough stretch in that quad, just staying there or even backing off just a bit. And we'll stay here for one breath in, one breath out. We'll take the hands back to the floor, back to the blocks, and begin to straighten out that front left leg. coming into a nice runner stretch or half split. So pointing those left toes up towards the ceiling and trying to square off the hips as much as possible. You can always place a nice little bend in that front knee as well if it doesn't feel good on the back of the leg. Inhale, begin to lengthen up that spine again. And then exhale, see if you can take the chest just an inch closer to the leg. Stretching out that left hamstring. Calm breath in. Calm breath out. When you're ready, we're going to slowly walk all the way back to that crescent pose with our fingers down on the ground. Tuck the back toe, lift the back knee. So we're going to spin that back heel down towards the ground and begin to slowly straighten up that front leg, coming into pyramid pose. So if you've been with me for a while, pyramid pose is, the stance can always change. Sometimes people like to kick that back leg up so you have a shorter stance, and some people like a wider stance. So just seeing what works for you. There's no right or wrong as long as it feels good. So we'll inhale, lengthen up the spine, and then exhale, see if maybe the nose can come a little closer to that front leg. You can always place a nice little bend in that front leg. Just breathing into the back of the leg, breathing into that hamstring. And we'll stay here for 2 more rounds of breath. You can always come out of it sooner if needed. When you're ready, we'll bend that front knee and then coming back onto those back toes. And then we're going to heel toe our left foot towards the outside of the mat. And then slowly lower that back knee down, flatten that back foot, coming into the lizard pose. So you can always, again, have blocks underneath your hands. You can always place a pillow underneath that right knee to give you a little more support. So just hanging out here for a bit. If it feels good, maybe rolling to the outside of that left foot, opening up the hip just a bit more. And if you have the space, you can always drop down onto the forearms. Checking in with the breath. If your breath seems to be a little short or shallow, or even if you're holding your breath, then easing up wherever you are, coming back to that nice, slow, deep breath. The magic is all in the breath. That is how we open up our different energies that maybe be blocked. That's how we open up physically as well. Anything that has tension, just breathing through it. So staying here, or if you want to go after a more intense quad stretch, coming onto the hands, bending that right knee, and then see if you can reach that left arm and hook onto that right foot. This may be enough and that's it, and that's totally fine. If you can slowly pull that right foot towards the glute, feeling a nice stretch in the quad, and then easing off whenever needed. So then we'll tuck the back toes, begin to slowly lift that back knee. And then we're going to take that left foot and then just swing it around back, coming into downward facing dog. Taking a full breath in, full breath out. On your next breath in, gazing towards the top, and then taking a nice big step all the way to the front. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, root to rise all the way to standing, lifting the arms, lifting the hands. Exhale, hands come to heart center. So again, you can leave your right hand in half prayer or take that right hand to the right hip. And then we're going to shift the weight to the right foot. Bend that left knee. Maybe grab a hold of that left foot right behind you. So again, checking with the hips, see if you can press them forward, take the tailbone down towards the ground. And then point that left knee down towards the floor in line with that right knee. Full breath in. Full breath out. And then gently letting go of that. We'll inhale the arms all the way up. Exhale, hinge at the hips, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, take the fingertips down towards the ground, and we're just going to take a nice big long step back with our left foot. Coming into that low lunge again, letting the hips settle just for a breath. And then when you're ready, we'll slowly lower that back knee and then flatten that back foot. Staying here if this is enough, or taking the hands up onto that knee, backing the hips up just a bit. Pulling that tailbone down towards the mat again, pressing the hips forward just a bit. And then using the breath to slowly and carefully press the hips forward, keeping that tailbone pointed down. That'll create a bigger stretch into the quad. Full breath in. Full breath out. Keep the hands back down to the floor, back down to the blocks. And we'll slowly shift the hips over that back knee, straightening out that right foot. And then flexing the toes up towards the sky. Inhale, lengthen up the spine. And then exhale, maybe taking the chest just an inch more down towards the leg. Again, remembering if you need to place a nice little bend in that front leg, you should feel like a nice good stretch, nothing strenuous, nothing that makes your face grimace. Just a pose that makes you take a big breath in and a big breath out. And then when you're ready, we'll slowly walk ourselves all the way back to that low crescent pose, keeping the fingertips down the ground. Tuck the back toes, lift the back knee into our low lunge. Then spin that back heel down towards the ground. And we'll slowly begin to straighten up that right leg, coming into pyramid pose. So again, you can have blocks underneath your hands. You can even step that back foot up, coming into a shorter stance. Inhale, lengthen up that spine. And then exhale, maybe the nose comes just a little closer to that front leg. Two more rounds of breath. On your last breath, we're going to inhale, gaze towards the front of the mat, fingertips stay on the ground, and we're going to slowly bend that front knee, coming onto those back toes, low lunge. And then begin to heel toe that right foot towards the outside of the mat. When you're ready, lowering that back knee, flattening that back foot, coming into the lizard pose. So staying here if this is enough. If it feels good, maybe rolling onto the outside of that right foot to open up the hip just a bit more. And again, if that doesn't feel good, just closing it off, no big deal. If you have the space, you can always walk your hands down or forearms down to the blocks, to a pillow, or even down to the floor. Remember, this is not a competition with anyone. This is not even a competition with yourself. Just seeing If you can create space, and if you can, just moving nice and slowly into it. Our journey in yoga is always a journey, never a destination. And each day might be a little different. So we'll stay here just for a few breaths. If you would like to do that nice intense stretch on the quad on this side, coming up to both hands. Bend that back knee. Slowly reach around with that right hand. Maybe grab a hold of that foot. And this could be enough. Or maybe slowly pull that foot towards the glutes. And then releasing whenever your body tells you to. And we'll stay in lizard for one more breath in. One more breath out. If you're on your forearms, walking back up to the hands, we'll tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, and then begin to swing that leg, right leg, carefully towards the back, coming into that downward facing dog. Full breath in, full breath out. And slowly drop the knees down towards the mat. Big toes touch, knees come out as wide as comfortable, sinking the hips back towards the heels, coming to child's pose. And just allow yourself to come back to your breath. See if you can intentionally slow and deepen each breath. I know sometimes a lot of us, we like to control things as much as possible in our lives, but life kind of throws us curveballs and sometimes things are not in our control. However, our breath is the one thing we can control. So just taking these few moments just to control the breathing, deepening each length of breath, allowing your body just to relax. And then when you're ready, we'll come all the way back up to a tabletop, tuck the toes under, lift the hips all the way up and back, downward facing dog. We'll inhale, gaze towards the top of the mat, and then exhale, taking a nice big step all the way to the top. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, root to rise all the way to standing, lifting the arms all the way up. Exhale, hands come to heart center. So our final pose, our peak pose for the day is dancer pose. If you do not want to do this pose, you definitely do not have to. But since we stretched out our hamstrings and our quads, our body should be a little more open to do this. So we're going to start on our left side, so shifting the weight to our left leg, engaging the quad nice and strong. And we're going to take that left hand onto our hip again or leave it into half prayer. Begin to bend that right knee, grab a hold of that foot with the right hand, just coming into that quad stretch again. Then see if you can sneak your right hand into the arch of the right foot. Inhale that left arm all the way up. So this is a modified dancer pose. You can always have a chair or wall in front of you if you need it for extra balance. And then see if you can start to hinge at the hips just a bit. And again, staying wherever it feels comfortable. If you have the space, you can always lift the foot, engaging that right glute all the way up. And then coming back down. Inhale, both arms all the way up. And then exhale, hands come to heart center. So we'll just move straight to the other side. Shifting the weight into the right leg. Right hand can stay in half prayer or come to that right hip, whatever feels more comfortable. And then bend that left knee, grab a hold of it with the left hand. See if you can slowly shift that left hand towards the arch of that left foot. So staying here, this is enough. Again, you can always grab onto a chair or even a wall for balance. If you're with me, we'll inhale that right arm up. Exhale, begin to hinge at that right hip. Really engage that quad and engage the left glute. And gaze can look straight forward or even down on the ground. And then we'll come all the way back up. So whatever modification that you did, knowing that you came into the dancer pose was actually a very tricky balancing pose. So we'll inhale the arms all the way up. Exhale, hinge at the hips, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, take the hands down, stepping back to plank pose. And then we'll just lower the knees down and sitting back on the heels. And then coming to a side seat, slowly sweeping the legs out in front of us. So we did a lot with the legs today, our hamstrings and our quads. So if you want to shake them out just a bit. And then we'll flex the feet, point the toes up towards the sky. We'll inhale the arms all the way up. Exhale, hinge at the hips, lean with the chest. And then let the hands fall wherever they may. Maybe it's on top of the thighs. Maybe it's on the sides of the mat. Maybe it's the toes or ankles. Just finding that length in the back of the legs. Taking another big breath in, lengthening up. And then exhale, this time rounding in. You can always bend both knees, matching the belly to the tops of the thighs. And then just staying here for just a few breaths. And then when you're ready, just slowly rolling all the way up. And then grabbing onto the backs of the legs or using your core, and we'll slowly make our way down onto our backs, nice and easy. And then taking that right knee, right shin into the chest. And again, if it feels good, pointing and flexing the foot, rolling out the ankle. And we'll take the right arm out into a half T. And then slowly guide that bent knee down towards the left, coming into a nice reclined twist. Checking in with the body, checking in with the breath. And bringing awareness to your body. See, again, if you're having any tension that might have built up during our flow, and just letting your body know that it did such a great job, but now is the time just to relax. No need to be anxious about anything. And then when you're ready, we'll take that right shin back into the chest, give it a nice good squeeze. And then sending that right leg to meet the left. We'll pull in that left knee, left shin into the chest, point and flex the foot, circling out the ankle. And then taking the left arm out into a half T, and then slowly guiding that left knee down towards the right. Gaze can look over to the left fingertip. This is the time to slow down our parasympathetic nervous system, our rest and our digest system. Letting our body detox and rejuvenate anything that needs to be repaired or healed. And then when you're ready, taking that left knee back into the chest, last good squeeze. And then sending it down to meet the right foot. Coming into Shavasana. If you need a pillow or blanket underneath the knees or even the neck for support, or since you're at home, you can always place your legs up a wall. That's always good for circulation as well. So just finding whatever comfortable resting pose. And then wherever you are, tucking your chin in just a centimeter in to lengthen out the back of the neck, closing the eyes. And then take a big inhale in, filling up the belly, the chest, and the throat. And then exhale, emptying out the throat, chest, and belly. Softening in. Begin to relax the toes, the soles of the feet and the ankles. Relaxing the calves, the knees, and the tops of the thighs. Softening the hips and the pelvis. And then letting this peaceful sensation flow all the way up through the spine, into the belly, into the chest. Melting the shoulders down into the earth. Relaxing the arms all the way down to the fingertips, letting them naturally curl in. Releasing any tension you may have in your jaw. And softening the space between your brows. Letting yourself become one with the earth, one with the source, and one with the self. When you're ready, just coming back to the room, back to your body, and back to your natural pace of breath. Wiggling out the fingertips and the toes, and taking a nice big stretch like you're waking up in the morning. Rolling over to your favorite side into fetal pose. Once you're there, taking a full breath in and a full breath out. At the bottom of the exhale, slowly pressing yourself all the way to a comfortable seat. Keeping the eyes closed or heavy. And then once you make your way there, taking the hands to heart center, bowing the chin in gratitude for taking this time for yourself and for your practice as well. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me today. I hope you all feel a little bit stronger, a little more brighter, and a little more at peace. Namaste. Well, thank you everyone for coming. I hope you feel nice and rejuvenated and that you have a beautiful rest of your day and a beautiful rest of your week. And I hope to see all of you next week as well. Bye, everyone.